Hi everyone, my name is Brent M. I am the Senior Aquarist here at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the teeth that can be found in our shark exhibit and what those teeth do. So the first tooth that I'm going to talk about today is one of the ones that we see really well. It is our sand tiger teeth. They are the biggest shark that we have, and they typically swim around. They've got these big long teeth and they stick right out of the front of their mouth. This is the tooth that's probably the most seen in our exhibit, and those teeth are really intended for grabbing and holding small fish. Sand tiger sharks are specialist eaters for fish. They'll typically go after slow, old, weak, or dying fish, and that's pretty much all they eat. The second type of tooth that we'll talk about today is our sandbar teeth. These are a little bit different shaped. You can see they've got a little bit more of a triangle shape to them. And the edges are actually serrated, so they've got lots of tiny little indentations along the edges. That allows them to have a little bit better of a cutting and tearing ability. And our sandbars are generalist eaters. They're going to be eating anything that they can get into their mouth. And these teeth that are triangular shape allow them to potentially have something a little bit bigger and be able to take bites out of it. These guys in the wild will typically be eating small to medium-sized fish. They'll be eating skates, stingrays, crustaceans, anything that they can really get into their mouth. They're pretty general eaters. The next tooth, it doesn't even really look too much like a tooth, is our stingray teeth. These can be found in both our southern stingrays and our cow-nose stingrays, and they're kind of meant more for lots of crushing. So these teeth are intended to be eating hard-shelled items, lots of crabs, mussels, clams, stuff like that. The next tooth that we have almost look like human teeth for our molars, and these are actually the teeth of black drums. That is a fish that typically will also crush and kind of chew their food to make it a little bit smaller. And they're also going to be eating things off the bottom, things like clams, mussels, shrimp, crabs, stuff like that. And the last tooth that we have here is actually these small, tiny little, almost needle-like teeth. Those are teeth from our green Moray eels. The green Moray eels are specific to eating fish. And again, just like with our sand tigers, these long, skinny teeth are really good for grabbing and holding food and keeping it in place. And they don't really do very well at chewing or ripping. So they're going to eat their food whole. So in case you were wondering where these teeth came from, we did not go in there and do any dental work on our fish. A lot of fish, and especially our sharks, lose a lot of teeth through their lifetime. Some species of shark can lose up to 30,000 teeth over the course of their life. All of these teeth were collected by our dive staff here at the aquarium, and we will typically find these laying on the ground in the exhibit. So we will collect these. We'll use them for different programs in our education and for things like this. We're often asked here at the aquarium if we ever feel threatened by our sharks when divers are in the water, or if our sharks would attack people. And one of the really neat things that we can do is look at an animal's teeth to determine what kind of prey that it has kind of in nature. So by looking at our sand tigers, yeah, they're really large animals. They're got really big, mean looking teeth. But because the teeth are long and skinny and they're not really built for cutting or tearing or ripping, we can kind of look at that animal and say that it wouldn't really attack people unless it felt threatened. Those teeth wouldn't do well on a large mammal. They're not going to go after seals. They're not going to go after really anything larger than a medium-sized fish. So, you know, people think that all sharks are these big, scary man-eaters. Really, they're not. You can look at their teeth and kind of make that assessment of what they would be eating. Now that we've talked about the different teeth in our shark exhibit, I'm actually going to quiz you guys now. So, take a look at all of these teeth here and see if you can figure out which teeth belongs to who. So tooth number 1 here, it's kind of small and triangular shaped. It has the serrated edges that we kind of talked about. That tooth belongs to our sandbar sharks. The second tooth here, round and is really meant for grinding and crushing, is going to belong to our black drums. This third tooth is long, skinny, and actually really big. That's going to belong to our sand tiger sharks, and it is intended for grabbing and holding prey. Tooth number 4 is long, kind of flat, and very thick. That is again intended for crushing and chewing, and that's going to belong to our stingrays. And the last tooth here, tooth number 5, is again very long and skinny, but it's a little bit smaller, so it comes from a smaller animal, and it's going to belong to our green moray eels.